Let's hear what anti-Israel protesters reveal their hopes for Gaza and feelings towards Kamala Harris.
And Israel to be dismantled.
Ceasefire first.
No, I don't see more hope. I actually see less hope.
From Lebanon to Palestine.
There is only one solution.
There is only one solution.
Intifada revolution.
Why is Fox News not immediately calling these like anti-Jewish protesters? I'm shocked. Mainstream media literally immediately was like, these guys are anti-Semitic. They're anti-Semitic protesters. They're all anti-Semitic. They're pro-Hamas.
Intifada, intifada.
Intifada, intifada.
Long live Intifada.
Long live Intifada.
I would like to see a two-state solution.
Israel right now has to stop completely the bombing and killing of civilians in Gaza.
Israel should do whatever they want to do. It's their territory, it's their area.
Stop genocide,
Ew.
stop the fight, stop the war, stop bombing, stop killing people.
The only solution will be a peaceful dismantlement of the state.
If you go to Reddit, you'll see this was the biggest anti-Semitic attack ever. Guys, many people are saying these protesters did January 6th, which is worse than 9/11. So technically, this was anti-Semitic 9/11 times 100, because January 6th is 9/11 times 100. So technically, this was 100 9/11s, but anti-Semitic 9/11s. Okay. Whereas October 7 was 1,000 9/11s, and that was also anti-Semitic 9/11s. Make no mistake, the apartheid, or just like with 9/11, America's actions in the Middle East have nothing to do with either of these actions that took place. Okay? These are infallible moral arbiters. These are states that are the most moral. They're police states. They're policing the world. Okay? And basically they've never done anything wrong, and people were just like, yeah, we just kind of we hate you because we ain't you. That's what they said. They were jealous. They were jealous of all the freedoms that Israel has, just like everybody else was jealous of all the freedoms that America had. That's why America had to invade and kill a bunch of goat herders in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? To just really show the rest of the world, how it's done.
Of Israel.
Israel needs to withdraw all troops from Palestine and end the occupation of Gaza and the West Bank.
Ceasefire now. We want the people of Israel to stand up against the injustice.
I want Israel to deoccupy. I want them to decolonize and leave. I do believe that it is okay for Jewish people to have their own state, but I don't think it should be at the cost of tens of thousands of lives.
I would like a one state. I'm part of the One Democratic State Initiative. We believe that everyone has the right to live in dignity in a fair and free society. Everyone should have equal voting rights. Everyone should have equal access to water, equal access to roads.
Look at how gross and anti-Semitic she is. Can you imagine the level of anti-Semitism to say that, like, Palestinians deserve water? Hello? Disgusting. I'm losing my mind. Wow. This part, what's next? Are you gonna say that they also deserve equal representation? Like, what? Hello? This must be one of these Iranian-backed anti-Jewish protesters that they're talking about. It is guys, everybody knows it is objectively anti-Semitism to say that Hamas and Palestinians, which is all Hamas, by the way, including especially the babies, they're Hamas babies that need water. They don't need water rights. It's Hamas.
Should never be walls, and no one should be punished for the crimes of their ancestors.
I want them to get the hell out of Gaza, the hell out of the West Bank, and to stop all kind of apartheid against the Palestinian people.
Israel needs to have a two-state solution. Palestinians need to have their own right to freedom and their own rights, their own land, where they have their own protections. They cannot be under this occupation, this apartheid state anymore. The globe is united that this is an apartheid state that Israel is conducting, and they have to come to a two-state solution immediately.
The government needs to...
He basically quoted the ICJ. Excuse me. Okay, excuse me. The ICJ, more like international communist Jew hatred Yeah. Also, Hamas. I tried. I almost went there. The Iranian Communist Judiciary. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, that's better. How quick-witted? Okay, man. Okay. You'll be singing a different tune at the top of the hour when I serve you that 3-minute ad break, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, how quick-witted. Guess what, dude? Here's something that's quick for you. 3 minutes of ads. How about that? You like that? Well, fear not. You have a mechanism to defend yourself against the top of the hour ad break. It's called subscribing for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
To comply, and because this is the only good thing for them. And if they don't, the destruction is at the end. Just like any empire, you can only win so much with weapons, and then you will crumble. If you don't know history, then it's going to bound to repeat.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Stop bombing Gaza now!
Stop bombing Gaza now!
Stop bombing Gaza now!
Stop bombing Gaza now!
Kamala Harris, we don't know what she stands for. So we're waiting to see what her stand is. If it follows what Joe Biden did, then she's no better than him.
I really hate her. I am both pro-life and pro-Palestine, and she is against both of those things. So to me, she's just into a double genocide.
And she is not who I would like to be the Democratic nominee, but I mean, she appears to be better than Joe on the issue of Palestine and the genocide.
I feel bad for her because I think she's got a lot of baggage coming as a prosecutor.
I mean, I'd like to see her stand up and, support a ceasefire and finding a path towards peace.
It's giving me some hope, actually. Politics, they're just so crazy now, and I do think that Joe Biden needed to step down, and I think he needed to step down a while ago.
I don't think she's capable. We have North Korea, we have Netanyahu, we have Russia, we have China. She cannot stand up to them.
She has not been very vocal about this issue, so I cannot tell what her views are, but since she
a ceasefire and finding a path towards peace.
It's giving me some hope, actually. Politics, they're just so crazy now, and I do think that Joe Biden needed to step down, and I think he needed to step down.
Who I would like to be the Democratic of Palestine and
because I think she's got a lot of baggage coming as a prosecutor.
Palestine and the genocide.
I feel bad for her because I think she's got a lot of baggage coming as a prosecutor.
I'd like to see.
She is against both of those things. So and she is against both of those things. So to me, it's just
no better than him.
I really hate her. I am both pro-life and pro-Palestine, and she is against both of those things. So to me, she's just into a double genocide.
And she is not who I.
That's sick. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. Why not? She said brand new person just unlocked. Iraqi wizard, bro. She's Muslim. Of course she's pro-life. Everyone I know is pro-life. Dude, what kind of fucking Iraqi are you? What do you mean? Islam is severely less restricted on abortion than Christianity is, or modern Christianity in the United States of America is. The fuck? Bro, I'm the worst Muslim on the motherfucking planet. And here I am educating a dude whose name is Iraqi wizard. Less restrictive, but still promotes pro-life. I grew up in Iraq, brother. Okay, I grew up in Turkey, where the fucking federally funded, government-funded public health system offers abortions to people. You know that, right? The fuck do you mean?
I would like to be the Democratic nominee, but I mean, she appears to be better than Joe on the issue of Palestine and the genocide.
I feel bad for her because I think she's got a lot of baggage coming as a prosecutor.
I'd like to see her stand up and, support a ceasefire and finding a path towards peace.
It's giving me some hope, actually. Politics, they're just so crazy now, and I do think that Joe Biden needed to step down, and I think he needed to step down a while ago.
I don't think she's capable. We have North Korea, we have Netanyahu, we have Russia, we have China. She cannot stand up to them.
She has not been very vocal about this issue, so I cannot tell what her views are, but since she was part of Biden administration, So I hold her equally accountable for all the support the Biden administration has given to Israel.
So we've seen that in the past she's taken a lot of donations from AIPAC. However, I've also seen that she seems to be a little bit less warmongering than Biden on the issue of Israel-Gaza. So we're sort of waiting to see at the moment.
Israel is vowing to hit back hard after a rocket attack killed 12 children and teenagers in the Golan Heights over the weekend. Both Israel and the United States blame the Hezbollah militant group in Lebanon for the strike. Hezbollah denies responsibility. Deborah Patta visited the scene of the attack.
A funeral lament for the 12 children blown apart by a Hezbollah rocket. The villagers of Majd al-Shams gathered in their thousands to mourn, as if embracing the long row of white-shrouded coffins.
The children were playing soccer just behind me when the sirens went off. They then tried to rush to the shelter. You can see it's pockmarked with shrapnel, but there simply wasn't enough time before that rocket slammed into the pitch. And you see these charred...
Oh, by the way, this is a pretty interesting situation. This is a pretty interesting situation because it turns out Western media is capable of talking about a bombing attack, like talking about a bombing where like children are slaughtered with incredibly graphic terms. Yeah, it turns out that they can do that. Because I thought like this entire fucking time, like they just were woefully incapable. Like they were just like weirdly restricted to cover this kind of stuff. Yeah, new journalism unlocked. This is a new skill in American journalism. Well, I guess it was an old skill when we're talking about fucking Russia. Yeah. Also, classic situation where, of course, it's Druze children, and it's Arab Israelis who don't have the same access, who sometimes aren't even considered full Israelis. This is in the Golan Heights as well, which is annexed Israeli territory. I don't know what the actual details are. These are Syrians in Syria. Yeah, no, but they don't consider themselves, they're not even Israelis, they're Syrians. Yeah, they don't consider themselves Israelis. And the thing is, but Israel is using this as a way to gear up for a war in Lebanon, to be like, no, these are Israeli citizens when we love them and we care about them. Just like that one time there was a piece of shrapnel that fell on the fucking makeshift house of one of the, Palestinian citizens of Israel when Iran retaliated against Israel's original attack on the Iranian consulate. And then Israel was like, we love our Palestinian citizens of Israel, while they were like in the process of evacuating them out of their fucking homes for the 700th time. So I don't know. People are saying that this is like potentially a Iron Dome, but I doubt it. That was the Bedouin population. And then very quickly, as I said at the time, that like the likelihood that they got hit was because they don't have the same kind of Iron Dome coverage and defense. It came to be true.
An attack on a football field in the
Israel. Does this show the graphic imagery? I don't want to see it because it's really fucked up.
Israeli-occupied Golan Heights killed at least 12 children over the weekend. Israel's military spokesman referred to those killed as Israeli citizens, but when he did so, he was immediately interrupted.
These guys are not Israeli. They famously didn't accept Israeli citizenship in Majd al-Shams. There's an iconic picture from 1982 of them throwing their passports to the ground. Keep in mind, 90% of Golan Heights population was ethnically cleansed in 1967 and the years that followed. Majd al-Shams was one of those towns that stayed pretty much untouched. Every other town was partially or fully emptied.
Interrupted.
שבה אזרחי מדינת ישראל ממג'ד אל-שמס, קהילה, עדה דרוזית. הם לא אזרחי מדינת ישראל. אנחנו מחבקים אותם.
And when some Israeli politicians, including far-right minister Bezalel Smotrich, tried to attend the funeral of the victims, this happened.
Like, it's so obvious that they're like trying to act like they give a shit about these people.
So what is this all about, and how can it help us understand the Druze community that live in the highly contested Israeli-occupied Golan Heights? So this attack happened on the Druze village of Majd.
And more stuff about Golan Heights. Donald Trump permanently recognized the annexation of Golan Heights. It's Syrian territory that Israel currently occupies. Donald Trump made America recognize that occupation as just and legitimate, which was insane.
On July 19th, the International Court of Justice issued an advisory ruling on Israel's occupation of Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the West Bank. The ruling reaffirmed the long-standing international legal position that these territories are under unlawful Israeli occupation, emphasizing that such occupation should not be normalized. This reminder of international law raises significant questions about its impact in the United States and across the Western world. While the content of the ruling was largely expected given the clarity of international law on this issue, reactions varied widely. In the Arab world and the global south, there was substantial support for the ICJ's stance. In contrast, Israel predictably rejected the court's finding. Notably, the response from the United States and its Western allies highlighted a paradox. While professing respect for international institutions like the ICJ, they simultaneously argued that the court's jurisdiction does not extend to them or their allies.
Majd al-Shams. And the 12 children who were killed were not Israeli passport holders or Israeli citizens. In fact, they were Syrian Arabs, like much of the Druze community who live in that area.
لتوضيح نقطة غير واضحة عند كثيرين، سكان مجد الشمس والجولان المحتل ككل يعرفون نفسهم باعتبارهم سوريين 100%. منذ احتلالهم عام 67 حتى اليوم رفضوا كل محاولات إسرائيل لسلخهم عن وطنهم الأم سوريا.
And most residents.
Trump just followed through on a promise made in the Clinton cabinet. Yeah, dude, I know. There's just like such a weird reason that like no other administration did that though. It's everything that the Trump cabinet did or the Trump administration did in terms of our dealings with Israel was, events that were previously set in motion that every Democratic and even Republican administrations would not touch for an obvious reason, because they knew that the tensions would inevitably rise if they were to do so. If they were to give Israel that bone that they were desperately looking for, that they would go crazy. Like, that's why Donald Trump was uniquely bad on Israel. That like these were prior promises and assurances made that always had gotten in prior administrations, both Democratic and Republican, continuation. Like they would be like, oh yeah, we're passing it down. We're passing it down. There were multiple things that he did, like the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem. This was another thing that they just kept pushing. They kept pushing back on. Donald Trump, on the other hand, was like, no, fuck it, YOLO, we love that.
Of Majd al-Shams absolutely refuse Israeli citizenship. Following the attack, many people were quick to point blame on who was responsible for the deadly strike. Israel, the US, and some Syrians blamed the Lebanese group Hezbollah. But Hezbollah claimed the strike was from a misfired Israeli Iron Dome rocket. The funeral procession.
Oh yeah, there's a Jewish settlement. There is a Jewish settlement called Trump Heights in Golan Heights. A planned Israeli settlement in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights named in honor of Donald Trump. Dude, I don't think people understand how much Israelis love Donald Trump.
For the 12 killed children was attended by much of the Druze community in Majd al-Shams. The residents kicked out several Israeli politicians who tried to attend the funeral, including members of the Israeli parliament and in particular far-right minister Bezalel Smotrich, and as they kicked him out they shouted, "Get out of here, you criminal." Those living in the occupied Golan Heights are now a mix of Syrian Arabs and Israeli settlers. Syrians in the Golan taking on Israeli citizenship has become more common since the Syrian war erupted in 2011, but the vast majority reject it. Non-citizen Druze, who are a religious minority group, are regarded as having permanent residency status by the Israeli government, but can't participate in elections. Some members of the Druze community do in fact serve in the Israeli army. The Golan Heights is a strategic area that borders Lebanon, Syria, Israel, and Jordan. It's recognized as part of Syria but was occupied by Israel in 1967 and later annexed by Israel in 1981. UN Resolution 242 calls for Israel to withdraw from the Golan Heights and other territories it occupied in 1967, including
best democracy in the Middle East,
Gaza and the West Bank. But back in 2019, Donald Trump said the US should fully recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Some Israeli officials who blamed Hezbollah for the attack now warn of a strong response, something they've done multiple times in the past 9 months. But Lebanon's parliament speaker said Lebanon absolutely does not want war. But now many people are asking the question, will Israel use this attack to further expand its war?
Yeah, I mean, look, is there a likelihood that this was a Hezbollah strike? I think so. I don't think it's like that. Like, there's no strategic reason for this, for Hezbollah to do this. But, you know, I know that Hezbollah has denied responsibility. There are some on the ground eyewitnesses, but I don't think this was highly unlikely. It was the Iron Dome. The explosion was far too big for the Tamir warhead, and the interceptor would be burning fuel right in until impact. So a glowing projectile with smoke trail would be visible in videos flying into the ground if this was the case, which it wasn't. I don't think even Israel wants the smoke of a second front without the U.S. being ready to go boost on the ground. No, they do. Don't they typically own up to it when they strike? Why deny now? I mean, it could be a misfire. Like, it could be a Hezbollah misfire, and they don't, because they didn't like actually strike Israeli targets, and instead ended up striking a bunch of Druze children playing football. So, like, in order to save face. But in terms of like this being a false flag operation by Israel, that is the other angle here. That's what people are saying that it is, or a potential interceptor, a Tamir interceptor, misfiring and like striking this target. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. Seems a little bit far fetched. The interceptor, I mean. They've claimed misfires before, though, and admitted when they were at fault. When Hezbollah did before hit civilians, he admitted it and apologized, which is honestly weird if they deny that. I don't know. I've been watching Israeli media very closely for the past few days, and despite trying, they just couldn't, for the life of them, find a Jablani Druze resident of Majdal Shams that would actually call for the war. The few interviewees that they did were originally from inside the Green Line. Every signal from the Druze community has been a call for peace. But for those of you who are asking, like, Israel doesn't want the smoke from a two-front war, no, there's definitely a lot of appetite in Israel for a two-front war. I do not think that the Israeli leadership is thinking clearly about opening up a second front against a much better equipped enemy. Donald Trump is on Ingram Angle. Let's hear what he has to say.
She was watching. I asked her that. I mean, I wasn't there. I was on the ground. And when the world started to, like, you could talk to people, I said, so what was your feeling? And she can't really even talk about it.
Traumatized.
Which is okay, because that means she likes me.
No, she still
she
likes
loves
you.
me.
That's good.
I mean, let's say she could talk about it freely. That wouldn't be, I'm not so sure which is better. But she either likes or loves me, and that's nice. But I will say this, look, she was, when I went down, she thought the worst had happened, because I went down. And I grabbed my hand, and I saw it was, my hand was loaded up with blood. You see it in slow motion, instant replay.
Bro, this motherfucker is still talking about it, bro. I thought he wouldn't.
Just there. So this was covered live. They would have had instant replay and everything else, which they already do in this. But supposing the worst happened, you know, one man, Corey, was killed, hit horribly,
amazing man,
horribly in the head. And, you know, to guard it, he was guarding his family.
That's why how important it is to get to the bottom of why this was allowed to occur.
No,
I mean, he died.
No, he died.
You almost died.
He died instantly. Instantly. He was dead immediately.
Coming up, Trump responds to widespread social media attacks from the left on his vice presidential nominee.
Oh, that's going to be cool. I want to hear what he has to say about his, like J.D. Vance. I want to hear him defend J.D. Vance.
Odd children's bicycles left behind. These paramedics arrived 10 minutes later.
The whole scene was truly chaotic. People screaming, searching for their children.
We found only dead kids. It was really hard to watch. I've never seen kids like that, and I've seen dead bodies.
Wait, what? You've never seen kids like that? I guess you haven't. Oh well, I guess that's fair. They don't show what they do to kids in Gaza and Israel. So that's probably why. I believe her when she says she's never seen kids like that. No, I'm telling you, I think it's literally because they straight up don't show images of Gaza. She's in the IDF though. Yeah, they don't. I mean, she's fucking working in Golan Heights. If she hasn't fucking toured Gaza, if she wasn't in Gaza, then she probably hasn't seen it.
But not like that.
Israel and Hezbollah have been trading fire since October 7, but it's feared this escalation could trigger all-out war. The US has called for restraint as Israel vows to retaliate, warning there will be a price to pay. But backed by Iran and with its massive arsenal of missiles, Hezbollah is a far more formidable foe than Hamas in Gaza.
Druze leader Walid Jumblat denies Hezbollah had anything to do with this. He would know he's a good ally to Hezbollah. Yeah, the thing is, like, it also doesn't make sense for Hezbollah to like directly target Syrian territory, specifically the Druze, who are not exactly pro-Israel by any means, by any metric. As a matter of fact, are openly anti-Israel and contentious. I don't care about the one guy, the Walid guy, but like I'm saying, from a larger, in terms of a broader snapshot of Hezbollah's actions, I think the last time that they actually recognized when they struck like a Palestinian citizen of Israel, like a Palestinian target on accident, they took ownership over it, but it was a long time ago. And beyond that, part of the reason why they would potentially deny this, even if they were accidentally responsible for it, Hasan, it's not true. Most Druze living in Israel support Israel and even serve in the army very commonly. This is in the Golan Heights. This is the one territory where, like, as Time Without an Owo was saying, they famously threw their Israeli passports. And even though they have permanent residency in Israel, they refuse. So you're wrong. Yes, there are a lot of Druze. There are a lot of Druze and Arabs in Israel that serve, not a lot, but like there's a decent amount of Druze and Arabs in the Israeli military. But this is not what we're talking about here. So I think that my analysis or my speculation, my speculation alert is that it's most likely a misfire, but because the tensions are super high and Hezbollah has been like targeting northern Israeli territory and IDF positions deliberately, and in most circumstances, not even like directly targeting Israeli citizens and civilians, even though like obviously there's still fires that occur and sometimes they do hit civilians as well. Overall, this would be the reason for why they don't. This would be the reason for why they don't take ownership over this attack and instead deny it, because, like I said, tensions are very high. So that's my speculation on it. They have a tense relationship with the Druze. They make up a third of the Lebanese population, and although their leader Jumblat is pro-Hezbollah, many Druze aren't. And so being seen to kill a dozen Druze children next door in the Golan Heights, even if accidentally, is not good optics. Yeah, that's what I think. Exactly. Why would Hezbollah admit fault for accidentally killing a Palestinian Jew, but not the Golan Druze? What? Those were likely Sting missiles that are precision guided. None of that makes sense. No. Yeah, there is no reason. Elon Luz is such a liar, Lamau. There is no reason for. I don't even think there's a reason for Israel to fucking deliberately target and kill a bunch of Druze children there. I don't think that there is any reason for either party, like Israel or Hezbollah, to strike there. Do you know Israel, Lamau? No, I think like if Israel was to do a false flag operation, I suspect that they would do it in an area that is more like in an area that strikes the chord, strikes at the heart of Israeli citizens. Like the Druze, I don't think is enough pretext for the rest of Israeli society. But maybe they would falsely claim them and be like, oh, they hit our soil, they hit our people again. Especially considering Bezalel Smotrich tried to go to the fucking funeral, even though he was yelled at. Ultimately, I don't know. Israel's war on Gaza live. Health Ministry declares polio epidemic in Gaza. Oh, here. Israel has promised that Hezbollah will pay a heavy price for a deadly attack on Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. Hezbollah denies that it carried out the attack. Hezbollah has admitted other accidental strikes in the past. But the United States and Israel are saying it's Hezbollah. Hezbollah is saying it's not us and it's Israel. We shall see. We shall see what happens if there's like any sort of independent analysis on the matter.
The Biden administration cautioned Israel against striking Hezbollah targets in Beirut in response to a deadly attack on the Golan Heights on Saturday, warning that such actions could spiral out of control, according to both Israeli and US officials. The Israeli Security Cabinet convened on Sunday to discuss potential military responses to the rocket attack. Among the options considered were strikes in Lebanon's capital, according to Israeli officials. Israel attributed the attack to Hezbollah, a view supported by US officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken. However, Hezbollah denied any involvement. Both US and Israeli officials acknowledged that an all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah would result in significant destruction on both sides and could potentially escalate into a regional conflict. On Saturday, President Biden's senior advisor spoke to Israel's Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, and told him Israel has the right to defend itself against Hezbollah, but must avoid an all-out escalation and minimize civilian casualties, an Israeli official said.
What is this? The U.S. is leading diplomatic efforts to rein in an anticipated Israeli response to the deadly strike on Golan. To keep this episode contained, the U.S. is urging Israel not to strike Beirut, Dahiyah, or civil infrastructure in Lebanon. If they avoid civilians and they avoid Beirut and its suburbs, then their attack will be well calculated, Deputy Parliament Speaker Elias Bousaab told Reuters. They would not do that. When has Israel done that? Not exactly known for making calculated retaliations. I guess with the exception of going up against Iran. That's the only time when I saw the retaliation be like somewhat more calculated and measured. Even though their original act that sparked the Iranian retaliation was not calculated. The security sources had earlier told Reuters that Hezbollah had pulled out of some key sites in South Lebanon and the eastern Bekaa Valley, but had not taken similar measures in Dahiyah. All 5 sources who spoke to Reuters on the diplomatic effort said they aim to achieve a calibrated approach similar to which contained April's exchange of missiles and drone attacks between Israel and Iran after Israel's strike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus. Why are you getting your news from Twitter? Wait, what? Why am I getting my news from Twitter? This is the bureau chief for Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan at Reuters, man. Like, this person wrote this article and they're breaking their fucking story here. Like, I'm not looking at like a random fucking Twitter thread. Dude, Wikipedia Andes are so fucking illiterate. Like, I don't know. This sequence of tweets is akin to reading a newspaper. You understand that, right? Like, if I just like got a printout of a newspaper, like, that's what it is. It's the same as reading the fucking article. It's just summarizing the article. It's breaking the story that the bureau chief for Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan at Reuters is breaking on Twitter. This is a real problem with a lot of people who just reiterate shit that they've heard from other dumbass fucking YouTube debate perverts, okay? This is the issue. When you try to, repeat what you heard from like Bonarelli or some shit, and you come in here and you say it, you look like a dumbass, because he's a dumbass when he says that. Like, make up your own damn mind, okay? Come to your own conclusions. Don't just fucking repeat what some other fucking dumbass YouTuber is saying. Or worse, a dumbass kick streamer is saying. Also, it is rather ironic considering that like actual fucking journalists that I oftentimes collaborate with on a regular basis that I fucking bring to this broadcast routinely talk about the amount of effort I put in to making sure that like everything that I'm reporting on here and doing commentary on here is like at least well sourced. So I don't know who's to say one random fucking kick streamer or I don't know, all of these fucking actual journalists. Like, think, please think. You probably saw the Israel Twitter account post the all eyes on Majdal Sham's AI image. They've definitely successfully used it to drum up support for war among Jews. Regardless, it may have been a misfire. Hezbollah fires on northern Golan have increased in months, but it's very unlikely this was an Iron Dome, in my opinion. There's no evidence for that, so please be careful, chat. None of it changes the fact that the community itself doesn't want these deaths to be used for war. Yeah. What? I haven't gotten to the Israeli riots yet. Hold on. And we'll get to Donald Trump trying to defend Vance in a second. But let's finish this up. I'm saying I don't know. Okay.
where people are also trapped in a relentless cycle of despair. And just this weekend,
But one thing I do know is that the coverage on this immediately from Western media that is often very reluctant, very, very suspiciously reluctant to cover with active voice, they immediately were like, hey, what's up? This is definitely Hezbollah, and babies were murdered and mutilated, which they were. They were. However, that same tone never exists when it's an Israeli strike blowing Palestinian children to bits. Odd.
Israel issued more evacuation orders. Exhausted and furious, this is the 5th time we've had to move, says this woman. Where do we go? Thousands of Palestinians once again forced out of shelters into the unknown.
The United Nations says that now only 14% of Gaza is not under evacuation orders, leaving people destitute, homeless, and completely out of safe options to run to. Michelle?
Crisis beyond crisis. Deborah Patta in East Jerusalem. Thank
you. Yeah.
Israel's security cabinet.
Israel authorized Netanyahu's retaliation against Hezbollah as well. The Lebanon government condemns deadly rocket attack.
Whatever happened.
But it says it does not give Israel a license to kill. And now Turkey is saying that they might enter Israel to help Palestinians. Here's Erdogan, which is what led Israel to say that Turkey should be removed from NATO.
Tayyip Erdogan says his country could intervene in Israel's war on Gaza. He was speaking to members of his party on Sunday. Erdogan made references to the 2020 conflict in Libya when Turkey sent troops to support the government. He also mentioned last year's operation when Turkey's ally.
He's such a watermelon salesman, bro. I mean, he's not doing shit. He ain't doing shit, okay? He ain't doing shit, big dog. Let's keep it at $150. Okay.
Azerbaijan took control of the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Erdogan says Turkey could do something similar in Israel, but didn't elaborate.
We need to be very strong so that Israel cannot do these ridiculous things to Palestine. Just as we entered Karabakh, just as we entered Libya, we can do something similar to them. There is no reason for us not to. We only have to be strong so that we can take these steps.
Well, let's bring in our correspondent, Sinem Korsiolu. She's joining us live from Istanbul. Sinem, what are Turkey's options here?
Elizabeth, first let me underline that we're a bit lost in translation in this topic because many international media outlets have...
Here's Israel Katz, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Erdogan follows in the footsteps of Saddam Hussein and threatens to attack Israel. Just let him remember what happened there and how it ended. Bro, this is literally like when Saudi Arabia threatened Canada with their own 9/11. I'm sorry. There is no other way to read this other than we wanted him dead and now he's dead. Okay? Maybe that's not the case. Okay? Maybe there are obviously natural resources that America wanted. Okay, such as oil, specifically Halliburton contracts. And Dick Cheney was a massive advocate for this reality for a long time. But having said that, this does unironically read like we wanted him dead and he's gone. And we will do the same to you, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. I mean, do they want everyone to be actually, that's not true. If Israel did some shit like this to Erdogan, this would be the only way that like everyone in Turkey unites, just like after the fucking coup that failed. Oh God, they're gonna fuck this country up even further. I hate this. Don't get me wrong, I'd be happy. Part of me thinks that too, but the other part of me thinks that Turkey would become increasingly more like it would make Turks so unimaginably angry. Even those who fucking despise Recep Tayyip Erdogan, like they would become something new. It wouldn't even be like ultra nationalist. It would be like super mega ultra nationalist. They would find a new version of of fascism. Erdogan is legitimately a dictator that the people of Turkey hate, by the way. I don't know if you know this, but I'm Turkish, bro. I know. I hate Erdogan. So I know. But I also know my countrymen, okay? I know how they would react. It's understandable, especially after the coup that happened and a fucking referendum that took place that changed the Turkish constitution and turned it into a presidential structure, which gave Erdogan more power. Okay. Why did that happen? That happened because everyone was like, there's a fucking coup. Like, there's an American-backed coup happening in the country. Turkish citizens are being murked. Planes are being fucking refueled in American military bases. And like, Fethullah Gulen operatives are flying fucking F-16s and like, you know, doing crazy shit. From the gray wolves to the grayest wolves. Yok amına koyayım, dursun bu seçimsiz giderse bizi sikerler abi. Yeah, aynen. If he were to be taken out by a foreign entity, oh my God, dude. Oh, especially as he's like losing his grip on power in Turkey. If he were to be taken out by a foreign entity, that would be the worst possible outcome. Because honestly, he's already on the way out. That's why he's doing all this Israel shit. He knows his influence is waning. He knows that he's like in his last moments of his administration, in his regime, and regime change is coming, and it will be democratic. But because of that, he literally is like increasing the pressure on Israel because he knows Turks overwhelmingly are pro-Palestinian. So he's just trying to capture the attention as best as he can and maintain his image as like the defender of the Ummah, which unfortunately many people outside of Turkey do believe he is. So, yeah. Bro, what's going on in the subreddit? It's like 50% normal fans wondering what's going on, 40% Maoist third world's calling everyone libs, and 10% actually lib the fuck up weirdos. I don't know. Why are you going to the subreddit?
Translated Erdogan's speech as if he said, we can do the same in Israel. So I have to underline that he gave the Turkish military support in the Karabakh and Libya wars as the reference, which were no boots on the ground strategy for Turkey. This is very important because Turkey has many military involvements, like military operations that it has conducted since 2019 in northern Syria, like the operation in Afrin and other places. And those were on-the-ground operations. Turkish military were involved along with the Syrian opposition fighter groups. But here he's talking about another example where a Turkish army was involved in technology terms with its armed drones, but no boots on the ground. But Turkish military supported the paramilitary groups on the ground in Libya and the Azerbaijan military in Nagorno-Karabakh. So that's first what we have to underline.
Yeah, you know who else supported the Azerbaijan military? Israel. Azeri natural gas and oil go directly through Turkish pipelines into Israel, which powers like 30% of the Israeli grid. Fun facts about the complicated relationship between Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Israel. That's still very much in motion, by the way. He's over here being like, we're going to invade Israel. It's like, bro, you can shut off the power. Like, what do you mean? You could literally just do this and turn the fucking faucet off. Obviously, you can't. That would be, you know, insane, but you could.
We understand that he's trying to mean he has the strength.
Weird that Turkey, Israel, and Azerbaijan don't come together and join together against their common enemies, Armenians. No, they do. They literally do. That is a thing that they did. They did do that.
Power to do the same thing for Gaza, supporting the groups on the ground in Gaza. This is at least what we understand. But of course, this speech by Erdogan, I don't think that it was made by a coincidence. I don't think that he was trying to mean something else, but he was trying to show that Turkey wants to be involved also politically in the solution for Gaza, because we have seen Beijing mediated between the Palestinian groups, and there was an agreement that Mahmoud Abbas would be recognized, his group would be recognized as the sole leader of the Palestinians. But now we are seeing that Erdogan is saying Mahmoud Abbas hasn't responded to his request to his invitation to come and speak in the Turkish parliament. We understand that Erdogan wants to turn a new page on this debate and wants to be involved in the political solution process for the post-war in Gaza. Back to you.
All right, Selim, thank you for that. That's Selim Kosioglu live in Istanbul.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel.
Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, has urged Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu to address the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza, describing their talks as frank and asserting, "I will not be silent." In remarks closely scrutinized for potential shifts from Joe Biden's policy, the US Vice President said after the meeting, "What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. The images of dead children and desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety, sometimes displaced for the second, third, or fourth time." She affirmed that Israel has a right to defend itself and condemned Hamas as a brutal terrorist organization responsible for triggering the war. However, she emphasized the importance of how Israel conducts its defense, stating, "We cannot look away in the face of these tragedies in Gaza. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent." Harris called for the establishment of a Palestinian state and urged Netanyahu and Hamas to agree on a ceasefire and hostage release deal to end a war that has led to the deaths of far too many innocent civilians. "As I just told Prime Minister Netanyahu, it is time to get this deal done," she said. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.